We're on our last tutorial of the advanced design of the digital portfolio. I want to thank you guys for sticking with it and designing something that I think is pretty fun and pretty awesome. So this last piece in our showcase page is our featured 3-column section that highlights and acts like buttons. You notice that I have these symbols inserted. These are just a real simple black and white image. You have two options on how you if you wanna put these in. You can either find your own images like this and then use these as button images, or since we've set these images up to fit these containers, you can simply use a picture from that artifact to represent the project. So it's totally up to you. You can actually use the actual image of the artifact, or you can create one and insert it so it has a consistent look. I like the consistent look. I think it is a nicer feel to it. But again, it's your portfolio, so do what makes you happy. So this is we've done this one already twice before, so let's get into it. So I want to locate that last section that we just completed, which is the second main class, main light gray BG, with that second class in there. So I'm going to locate that closing main tag and hit the enter return key. And I'm going to back that off so I'm on the same level. And we're going to type in main class main. And this one doesn't get that secondary class like the other two. It's just main. And right caret there. Enter return key a couple times. I'm going to hit the delete key so it brings that back in to the same level. Move your cursor up and then tab in. And then here, div class row, like we've done so many times before. And then right caret. And then enter return. Move your cursor up and then tab in. So we're going to get started with the grid system. So this one, we're going to go with a div class of grid 3. And we're going to hit the enter return key so we space that out. So this is going to set up our 3-column grids. And then I'm going to start with one of our data points, one of our data cells, and then I'm going to copy and paste the rest of those data cells. So then I'll just go back and enter in the right content for each one of those things. So it's less coding and just a more efficient use of my time. So I'm going to hit the tab key to tab in. And each one of these is a button and it's a link and it acts like a link. So we're going to start with our A tag, ahref. I'm going to put in a pound symbol to represent the URL for that for now. And then type in class. And these get the container button class to the A tag. And then hit the right caret. And then before we hit the enter return key, I want to go ahead and put in our div container, the call span 1 that creates that container. So we're going to go div class call span 1 and then hit the right caret. And then now go ahead and hit enter return a couple times. And then I'm going to hit the delete key so it brings it back on that same level. So I like to wrap it this way. I like to have the A wrapped around that div so it shows that that's what this is all about, that this is a button wrapped that way. So I'm going to place my cursor in between there now. And from here, I can start building out the content of each one of these cells. I'm not going to actually insert images and things like that for now. I'm just going to go ahead and enter in the tags. So I'm going to leave that H2 tag blank for now. I'll come back and enter it later. Hit the enter return key after that closing H2. And then this is going to be div class image container and right caret. And then left caret, img src for source, and then enter return again. And I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel this time. I'm not going to actually enter that image just yet because I want to add that a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and hit the space bar and then type in alt, and I'm not going to enter in text there either because I'm going to copy and paste this cell 2 more times, and then I'll go back and re-enter that content. I'm going to hit my right cursor, hit spacebar, and then / right caret to close out that image tag. and then place my cursor after that closing div tag on that same line and hit the enter return key. And here I'm going to enter in a paragraph tag to allow for a description of the artifact or what it might be. Just kind of like a real quick one sentence intro to what the artifact is going to entail. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste. For me in this tutorial, just to be more efficient, I'm going to copy and paste that lorem ipsum text that I've used so often. And you probably won't want to do this. I mean, you might if you want to, but I'm going to paste it in there, and that way when I copy and paste it for the tutorial, it's going to be a lot more efficient for me. You'll have to obviously copy and paste 3 different descriptions for that, but for me in the tutorial, we're just going to be more efficient that way. Okay, rambling on. Here we go. So next, I need to copy and paste this section, this data point, this data cell that I just created for each one of these buttons. So I'm going to highlight that whole section there. So the start of the A tag and the closing of the A tag there. And I'm going to hit Control C or Command C. And after that closing A tag, hit the enter return key. And Control V or Command V. Enter Control, Command V, or Control V. So there we go. So we have our 3 data cells. Now I can go ahead and enter in the content for each one of those. I'm going to start with the H2s first, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert the images. So in the first H2, this is going to be a math artifact. In the second one, it's going to be a science artifact. So locate that second H2. And then the third, I believe, is a writing artifact. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and put in images for each one of those. So I'm going to locate that image src and locate the quotation mark. And I'm going to delete back the 2 quotation marks and then retype in a quotation mark to bring my code hint up, and then hit the enter return key. And then from there, I'm going to locate my images folder. And I have a math artifact image. Is it this one? There we go. And then in between the quotation mark of the alt tag right there, math artifact. Type that in for our to be ADA compliant so we don't get in trouble. And then I'm going to locate that second section. Well, before I move on, where you're going to want to link your artifact to this button. And to do that, you're going to need to locate the ahrefs button up here. So to do that, you do the same thing like we just did with the image tag. So I don't actually have an artifact here, but if I were to do this, I would delete that quotation mark all the way back in the pound symbol, and then retype in the quotation mark, and then browse for file, and then you would select that artifact. You might be in your documents folder or a folder that you have set up just for your showcase page. That's something that I might do. I might create just an entirely separate showcase page or showcase folder and fill it with artifacts from my classes, and then you can just link those artifacts from that folder directly into your portfolio folder. Make sure that you move those artifacts wherever they are located. If they are located on a thumb drive, if they are located in your U drive in a different folder, make sure you make copies of those and put them inside of your portfolio folder. Do not link them to a file that is outside of your portfolio folder. It will break, it won't work when we go to put this over on the web server. So just remember that, okay? So if I were to do this, I would select that image or select that file. I'm just going to go ahead and link this image that is the image there, and so it'll open like that. If you want to add a target to this so it opens up in a new tab, I think that's always a good call for something like this. Just hit the space bar and then hit target blank. Okay, I'm not going to do that for the other 2 examples, these other 2 artifacts, but that's how you would do it to link up your artifact so people can view it. Okay, so then on to the next image. Locate that second image src where the blank quotation marks are. Back that off. Then retype in the quotation marks and then hit the browse. And this one is our science icon. And in the alt tag, type in science artifact, or whatever you want to call it if you have a special name for it. And then locate that third one and back those two quotation marks off. Type in the quotation mark, enter return, and then writing is the one that I have. And then in between the two alt quotation marks there, write in writing artifact. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to toggle over to Chrome, and let's preview this in the, this is my preview window. There we go. It highlights just like I want it to, and if I click on this math artifact, it's actually going to open it up for me, and it'll open up in a new tab, which I like, so then I can toggle over back to where I was in the website. So like I said before, when we first started the series, this series of tutorial on the showcase page, lay this out how you see fit, how it works for you with your different examples of artifacts and work. Okay. Quick tip before we close this out: if your images here are different heights, what you're going to find is that these will look slightly different in these sections, in these buttons, in these areas. So you want to try to find images or create images that are of similar size or the same size so that they appear consistent. If they have different heights, it will change the look of that image in these boxes. Remember, we've contained the width of these, but not the height of these. So if the height grows, it'll change the dimension of that image inside of there. So before you start inserting images, you might want to pull those open in Photoshop and make sure that those image sizes are the same. You can kind of see even in my design that these are slightly different. I've got a little bit more space here between the writing artifact and less space between the science artifact. And I believe that's because these images are slightly different sizes. So that would be something that I'd want to go back and fix and make more consistent. All right. So there you go. There's your portfolio. I recommend that you go through all of your pages in both the mobile version, mobile screen, and laptop version. Make sure all of your links work that are supposed to work. When you click on something, make sure it goes to the image or the document that you want it to go to. Because if you know, as a user, if you go to a broken link, that can be kind of frustrating. And I hope you've had a great time watching these tutorials, and I hope you've created something really awesome, and I can't wait to see what that entails when we post those onto our website. Good job, everybody.